life-changing, game-changing breakouts and food and conversations with the sponsors on the main floor, on the show floor, and we've had a fantastic day. And the day is far from over because we have more deep learning here. We have executives from Intuit. We have one of the world's leading experts on value pricing is going to join us. And as always, in every main stage experience that you're going to ever have at Scaling New Heights, we've thrown in a few surprises. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that you're still awake after eating that wonderful lunch. And you're going to have to help me. That was a good lunch, wasn't it? You're going to have to help me a little bit because the last time I just tried to be a little subtle with our good friend Poseidon, he couldn't hear too well. He is about 6,000 years old, so I get that the hearing's going. So let's give him a big shout and let's say, Poseidon, sink this room. Are you ready? Poseidon, sink this room. That's fantastic. Okay, folks, the room is sinking, but you still can come in while the ride is underway. Just be careful with your step. It is dark. All of the colored lights in the aisles lead you to exit rows and so forth. Okay, fantastic. All right, so we are deep, we are epic, and the deep learning began. It's going to start with Luis Sanchez. Luis Sanchez has nearly 20 years of experience with companies like Visa, General Mills. We've had two cereal guys. It's amazing. Visa, General Mills, JP Morgan, and Bay Area startups, little bitty startups like Intuit, I guess, I'm teasing. It actually was once, has been with Intuit since 2010 and was group manager for the U.S. QuickBooks Pro Advisor program. He then advanced to director of the Pro Advisor program, first leading the North American Pro Advisor program and later leading the worldwide Pro Advisor program. Today, Luis is the director of QuickBooks Accountant Marketing. Welcome to the stage, Luis Sanchez.
Joe, good to see you.
Always good to have you back here. Absolutely.
How are you, Joe?
Uh-oh. Here comes one in haste.
It's my man! It's Luis Sanchez! Oh,
Addie. It's been too long, hasn't it?
Oh. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Boom, 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 boom. Da-da-da-da-da.
For those of you who don't understand, Addie has long been infatuated with Luis.
Come here, Luis.
We will have none of that.
Look, I got your button.
I love the button.
I know.
For those of you who can't see, that is a button of Luis. It's a little bit creepy.
Oh, come on now.
Okay, so you have been a big fan of Luis for how long now?
Oh, a very long time, from the first time I ever set eyes on him. What year was that, Joe?
That was 2013.
2013, yeah.
Yes, and tell everybody why you're infatuated with Luis.
Why I'm infatuated?
Yes.
Because he's the leader.
The leader of?
The leader of the Pro Advisor program.
Who wants to break it to Addie?
Which means a lot to me.
Addie, I guess I'll be the one to break it to you. Luis is no longer the leader of the Pro Advisor program.
I'm sorry, Addie.
Shut the front door.
Yep. It is true. It is true. The new guy is named Chris Hamilton.
I don't care who the new guy is. There will never be, I don't care. There will never be anybody like Luis Sanchez to me.
Well, yeah, thank you. But,
thank you.
But I will tell you, Addie, I've met Chris Hamilton, and I want you to do me a big favor because I can tell you're upset, sweetheart. I want you to give Chris Hamilton a try because he really is an awesome guy.
Yes?
Yeah,
he
he
is.
is.
He really is, Addie. You'll hear from him tomorrow.
I'm going to have to take a moment, fellas.
All right, while Addie goes and collects herself, I do have somebody, that's sort of the joking introduction. You know, we had a lot of fun with that, but I have somebody seriously who is a representative, a very senior representative of Atlantis, who wants to welcome you, Luis,
Thank you.
and by extension wants to welcome Intuit to the property. This very senior ranking person is named, this very senior ranking member and representative is named Cassie. Cassie, come on out and welcome Intuit.
Oh, wow. Oh, this is fun. Thank you. Wow. Hi, Cassie.
Say hello. Hi, Cassie.
Hi, Cassie. Will you give me a high five? Nice job, right?
All right.
Do you think I might be able to get a hug?
Absolutely, Cassie.
Cassie,
hug.
can I get a hug? Aww. Thank you, Cassie.
You want to say hello to everybody?
That's wonderful.
How about some showing off?
Yeah, good job. I can't do any better than that. I mean, we might as well wrap it up at this point.
Give everyone a kiss. Mwah.
Oh, thank you, Cassie. Thanks for the welcome. I appreciate it. Bye-bye. Thank you, Cassie. I'll try to make you proud.
Everyone, Luis Sanchez.
And Joe, if you don't mind, I may need a clicker. Is that okay? Could I get a clicker, Joe? Get a clicker? I'm just trying to make sure I make it through the presentation. Thank you. How's everybody doing? Welcome, Scaling New Heights. I am just so thrilled to be here. You know what's crazy, as I was thinking about this show, it's been 5 years that I've been in front of you guys. And so you've really seen me grow at Intuit, which I really appreciate. You've seen my family grow. I've seen you and the profession, change dramatically. And so I'll take you back just a few years. Many of you met me on my second day on the job in Nashville, which was kind of wild, right? And I've worked at Intuit for like 6 years, so you guys kind of really saw me very early on. So it's fair to say I've grown and my family has grown, and many of you I consider extended family at this point. But think about Nashville. Then I kind of came around, and by Orlando I knew a little bit more, and so did my family. So my family has been changing over time. This is Espy on your left. She joined us in Orlando. She had a great time. And then about a year later, San Antonio Times, Nava came around. And so over time, things have changed, and then we went over to New Orleans, and Espy and Nava joined me in New Orleans. You can probably see on the left-hand side, Espy had a great time, and this is Espy and Nava today. They're big girls, and they're just absolutely wonderful children. So I just thought you'd like to get a kick of my growing family. Thank you. And speaking of extended family, some of you may remember this, which I guess we all just got reminded of, but Addie has become really part of my brand, which is exciting. So now back to real business. Talk about trends and how your industry is changing. So, the cloud. The cloud is changing everything, right? Now you get access to information, updated real time, all the time. Many of you don't have to go to the office anymore. That's pretty wild. It's pretty different. Think about data. It's flowing just very easily between, different applications, and it's allowing you to deliver more value and better insights to your clients. For many of you, this has already changed the way you do everything. Mobile first. It's actually taking, and I apologize for clicking that. Could you take me back? Mobile first. It's changed our expectations of, will you do me a favor and take me back to the previous slide? Poseidon, please. Thank you. It's taking us back to where we expect everything to work differently, right? We expect our iPhones to work perfectly with our iPads and to work perfectly with our desktop. And by the way, now our clients can reach us at absolutely any time. Not that they haven't in a while, but it just feels like there's more urgency. So mobile is really changing the way we do everything. And social. Now think about customers who are finding you online way before they ever meet you. Maybe they heard about you. And it's allowing you to have unprecedented reach. And it's allowing you to connect with people potentially even around the world. It's pretty crazy. All these trends are changing everything. And they're changing the QuickBooks business. We have seen our QuickBooks Online business grow way faster than we ever thought. And so last year, we surpassed 1 million QuickBooks Online customers. The last time we shared this, 1.25 million, and we're fully expecting next year to reach over 2 million QuickBooks Online customers. It's pretty wild. It's, and a lot has to do with many people in this group, so we thank you for that. You guys have seen how, we as a company have evolved from DOS to Windows to the web and now to the cloud. And so what I can tell you is now, over 6, sometimes 7 out of 10 new customers to QuickBooks choose online over desktop. It's a totally different game. And so this actually tees up the fact that we have been fueling small business success. It's all we do. But we're excited to share that there is a very large worldwide accounting firm that is choosing to fuel small business success by teaming up with us. So not only is it just a few of us talking about this, really large global players are getting behind this. So it's my pleasure to announce that today we have announced a partnership, a special relationship with BDO USA. What's happening is that BDO is showcasing QuickBooks Online as its preferred online accounting platform in the US. And it's really the first step in offering small business client tools and processes to better manage their processes, their businesses overall. We're thrilled. We're very excited to partner with BDO. Deb Deffer has been an amazing visionary in this success, and we can't wait to just learn more from them and have them help us as we grow QuickBooks Online into that platform of the future. So more details to come in the fall, but speaking of adoption, so not only are our users, small businesses, getting on QuickBooks Online, the great news is you guys are using QuickBooks Online Accountant. You may not remember this, but about 4 years ago, QuickBooks Online Accountant didn't even exist. I mean, that number on the left-hand side was about 0. There are over 382,000 accountants around the world who have at least one paid QuickBooks Online client that they're working with. The number is massive. That's just a few years. We're talking like about 3 years since we really launched this thing. So what does that mean? There are 1.2 million small businesses using QuickBooks Online, about 382,000 accountants here. There are about connections between about 550,000. About 550 out of those 1.2 million are working with an accountant. That means about 41% of all QuickBooks Online users are connected to an accountant. It's not a bad number, but we can do better. We want to drive more of those connections to you, the accountant, and we're working on that. And so when you think about it, we've been doing a lot of thinking about this. We share the same mission, you and us. We are all about fueling small business success. Some of you may know this table. Kind of, raise of hands. Who's seen this table or knows this table? I love it. It's a fairly high number. This is the table where 33 years ago, Scott Cook looked at his wife, Signe, and realized that, something was not working the way it should. She was struggling to balance her checkbook, and he said, there's got to be a better way. And he came up with Quicken, which eventually led to QuickBooks, which eventually led to us being in this room together. We have, from 33 years ago, been thinking about how to improve our customers' financial lives so profoundly they can't imagine going back to the old way. Honestly, if you think about it, that's what you guys do every day, right? You are just trying to improve your clients' financial lives so profoundly they can't imagine going back to somebody across the street or somebody else, right? And honestly, so what we know is that we share the same mission with you. We all really are still driven by Scott, who's been driving us from day one and is still an inspiration to us. And so we exist to fuel accountant success. There's a lot of us at Intuit. All we think about is how do we fuel your success? And so, having said all of that, isn't that what, making a difference, what it's all about? Who knows this guy? Raise of hands. Okay, not enough. People know. Chad Ridner. Chad is the winner of our Firm of the Future promotion from about QuickBooks Connect. We announced him at QuickBooks Connect last year. And Chad is a visionary. He is all about making a difference in his clients' lives. Honestly, he puts it really, really well in this quote. This is really what all of you do, right? Whether you know it or not, that you make a huge difference in your clients' lives. And, we want you to build a future fit practice. I'll walk you through a little bit through how we think you can get to being a future fit practice. But Chad knows a lot of these tenets. I want to make sure all of you know how we think about Firm of the Future as a concept. There are really 3 pillars to the Firm of the Future concept. One is get online. As you automate, you get online, you save time, and frankly, you got to embrace the cloud. You see how many of your peers are embracing the cloud? You got to check it out. Things are changing so quickly. We've just been blown away by that. Some might say you either embrace the cloud or you're going to risk extinction. It's becoming that important. Secondly, it's about you becoming a trusted advisor. And you kind of already are, but you can become an even more trusted advisor and make a bigger difference in your clients' lives by the way you treat them, the way you build them, the way you interact with them. And we believe that you can move from computation to consultation, that through value pricing and other models like it, your clients will look at you and say, they absolutely have my best interest at heart and they're not nickel and diming me ever. I believe that they're truly partners in this with me. And grow your practice. Storefronts are a thing of the past. Many of you already know this, but you got to have a website. Software as a service makes everything boundaryless, borderless, and the thing that blows me away is a couple of key data points that have to do with grow your practice. By 2020, we believe that about 80% of small businesses will be doing business online, really leveraging cloud tools. The other data point that we know is happening about 2020 from AICPA is about 75% of the accounting profession is reaching close to retirement age. Those are 2 massive forces that are really forcing us all to change everything. And so we asked you a little bit about get online. What do you think about getting online? And so again, Accounting Today actually helped us get some information. You told us the cloud makes you more responsive. 72% of you said that. 77% believe it saves you time. And 2/3 believe it reduces costs. We couldn't agree more. You guys know it. You've seen it. So, we believe that small businesses are moving just at an unprecedented rate, and you're going to have to keep up with them. So just in case you haven't, let me put in one final plug for QuickBooks Online Accountant. It's free. It's really easy to get onboarded. And to add a client, all you have to do is click that blue button, add a client, and you're off and running. Now, that's not the only thing it takes to move online. You guys have heard of apps. And apps are here to stay, and they're changing the game. An average small business user has about 18 apps. They streamline your workflow, your client's workflow. They help you get more out of the cloud. Now, today, only about 13% of QuickBooks Online users use an app. We believe there's room for way more than that. And through companies like T-Sheets and Expensify and Method, you guys are hearing about them all here. That number is going to explode. Today, there are over 2,000 apps on apps.com. And we just want to make sure that you're aware they are changing the game. And they are then, what they help us see is the future faster. It's coming at us probably faster than we thought. So here's some of the implications of getting online. We believe that you're going to go from just working with your clients online to moving your entire practice to the cloud. Just think about that for a second. We believe that you're going to go from just working with clients online to moving your entire practice online. And so, what that means is data is flowing so seamlessly between all of these applications that if you want employees a few years from now, I honestly believe the majority of you will have a distributed workforce. We limited into it. Many of you already live it today. You're going to go, we've heard about talent and how big a deal it is. When you find the best person, you're not going to care if they're on the opposite side of the country. All these tools really enable all of these things to happen. You're probably going to have a distributed client base if you don't already do. You're going to have clients here, across the country, maybe even internationally. And all of this is going to add up to you just realizing you got to be on the cloud. And so I know this is thought-provoking, but people like Chad Ridner live this. This is absolute certainty that it's going to happen to many, many of you, and this is a reality for some of them. So once you get online, you know what happens? You're going to save some time from less data, more data automation, and you're going to have more time to add value and make a difference in your clients' lives. So imagine all the time you spend on manual tasks, right? You'll be able to better provide advice and become a more trusted advisor. So Accounting Today did another recent survey for us, and we asked, how important is it that you be a trusted advisor? And about 92% of you said extremely important or very. I'm a little worried about the other 8% of you, but it's obviously important to be considered a trusted advisor. We believe, because we've seen it, that how you build your clients and how you treat them is very, very important, and how you're perceived. And so we asked the follow-up question. How many of you, let's see, let's go to the next one, please. Are actually billing and value pricing. And 71% of you told us, I don't plan to implement value pricing. But then we asked, how are you pricing your clients today? And so if you look at the blue, the 34%, those are the only ones who are actually of you who are billing by the hour. The others are either doing one-time fixed fees, recurring fixed fees, or a hybrid. That's good news. That means 2/3 of you are doing some sort of value pricing already. Again, I believe that's good news, and more important than what I think, Mark Wickersham. He's going to talk, after me here later today. But we've got a little video from him that just brings to life the fact that he believes that you can all profit more from the industry. And why don't we hear from Mark for a couple seconds about how everything is changing.
Hi there, it's Mark Wickersham here, Amazon #1 best-selling author of Effective Pricing for Accountants. And I want to share with you my thoughts about the state of bookkeeping at the moment. You see, I think bookkeeping, we're in such exciting times. Historically, people have always seen bookkeeping as being low value, and it may have been many years ago, perhaps I thought the same. But the reality is, it's highly valuable. And I think there is a huge opportunity. And that is because cloud accounting, it just changes everything. QuickBooks Online is revolutionizing the industry, because what it does is it enables us to do so much more. We can add so much more value through the amazing reports that are produced. And I know that some people see it as being a threat because it automates the data processing, but that's great. That frees us up to do more, to add more value. And here's the key thing though. Our pricing models have to change, because if we still cling to the old way of pricing based on time, and given that cloud accounting is automating so much, then we'll end up seeing decreasing pressure on prices. But the exciting bit is when we use QuickBooks Online to add more value, and when we move our pricing models to pricing based on that value, then like many accountants and bookkeepers I'm now seeing, is when we move to that new model, you'll see your prices go up and your profits go up. I think these are exciting times.
Awesome. So just in case you haven't seen the agenda, Mark is going to be chatting later today, so please listen to him. But we really do believe these are exciting times. The industry is changing so quickly. And here's what I wanted you to take away. QuickBooks Online Accountant is here to help. So a couple of pieces of advice when you think about value pricing before I show you a little bit about how QuickBooks Online Accountant enables that. Number one, be open, very open with your clients when you're moving to value pricing. Nobody likes surprises, number one. Number two, you will see from Mark that there's something in the power of 3. If you're considering value pricing, maybe you go in there just, baby steps. come up with maybe a 3-tier model, low, medium, and high, so that you can solve for a variety of your clients. So the beauty about all of that is that within QuickBooks Online Accountant, we now provide the ability for you to pass on wholesale billing. What that means is you can pass on a 50% discount on every single QuickBooks Online product we sell for the life of the subscription. That is the best deal we offer to anybody. You, the account professional, can offer the best deal to your clients. So we believe there's a lot of value in value pricing and value billing. You know, whether you want to move one of your clients to wholesale billing to try it out or all of them, the choice is yours. You can do that through QuickBooks Online Accountant. We also believe there might be something in it for you in terms of reducing paperwork hassle. You can get one consolidated bill at the end of the month. We think there's value in that. And so QuickBooks Online Accountant brings that for you. So let's recap how we want you to get value, get paid for it, and become a more trusted advisor in the process. QuickBooks Online Accountant, there will be a day where you'll be able to bundle QuickBooks Online with one of your app developer partners. You might say, you know what, T-Sheets is perfect for you, and you as an accountant will be able to buy them both and just hand them over to your customer. Secondly, QuickBooks Online is changing to become more and more like a, Google a small business. There'll be more and more information that you'll be able to drill down on and get right away. It'll have more benchmarking and standardization information, and it'll look back just as far, but it'll look forward too in terms of predictive analysis. It's pretty amazing all the stuff that we have in the pipeline as to how QuickBooks Online is going to keep evolving. But the beauty of all of that is it's going to give small businesses more and more value, but it'll enable you to add even more value to really make those really important decisions, right? How to improve their cash flow, how to improve their ability to stay in business. You will become even more important for them in the future. And again, as you spend more time on analysis, but less time on data automation, you'll be able to spend more time growing your practice. Some of you are doing a really good job of this already. I want to start with a story from Veronica Wasek, another one of our top 20 firms of the future. Let me show you a quote and give you a couple seconds to read it. So what if I told you every time you wrote a LinkedIn post, you would get a client with $100,000 in revenue over the next 3 years? Most of us would probably write a lot more posts, wouldn't we? You know, all the credit goes to Veronica. She saw this years ago, and she got on LinkedIn, and she saw that this was a huge opportunity. So we wanted to learn what the rest of you thought about digital marketing and social media marketing, and so through Accounting Today, we got some information. We learned that, let's start at the bottom because that's the good news. 3/4 of you have a website. That's good. The other 1/4, not quite sure what you're doing, but you got to have a website. Secondly, about half of you are on Facebook and LinkedIn. And that's not a bad number. Frankly, we thought that might be even lower going into the survey. But honestly, all your clients are on Facebook. All your peers are on LinkedIn. Some of your clients are on LinkedIn. You got to be in Facebook and LinkedIn. I know not everybody gets really excited about Twitter. I can tell you personally, I've learned a ton in the last year, really investing behind it. This is the time where I can be just a tiny bit selfish. @Luis1FE is my Twitter handle. Follow me. I've learned a ton about digital marketing in the last year, and it's all because of Twitter. But the beauty about Twitter too is you can build a following, ask a few questions really quickly, get some feedback almost instantaneously, and then direct message with whoever you want. It's actually a very powerful tool. So, obviously many of you are entertaining the concept of digital marketing and really, digging in. So, what do we do with all this? Social and digital marketing are changing the business too. They're enabling you to grow in a way. Growth doesn't necessarily mean having more employees. It might mean having more expertise. There's just a lot more information flowing through social channels. It can also really enhance your reputation globally. So today, your online reputation, even from Find a Pro Advisor, right? You have a profile. That reputation follows you, and it follows you around the world. Got to take that very seriously. Reputation management is a big deal in the future. Differentiation, the more you differentiate, the more people around the world are going to look for you for that niche. I mean, I really believe you may have a client in Wichita, Kansas, and yet another one potentially in Sydney, Australia, both of whom are going to reach out to you because of your knowledge of Californian environmental law and its implications on their accounting. That's the beauty of where we're going. You know, it's an entirely borderless world. How you differentiate is becoming even more important. And then finally, you know, just everything is changing globally. So just keep an eye for that. I believe all your businesses are going to keep growing globally. So Mariette Martinez, I believe, is a visionary. She's another Firm of the Future winner. She embraced a big trend a little while ago. I'll let you read her quote for a second here. Mariette is on a mission to help what I would call even, you know, not even small businesses, the self-employed, because she saw her mother struggle. She owned a Mexican restaurant and she went out of business because she didn't have a strong financial partner. Mariette wants to be that to a lot of people. This is where I, as your partner, tell you a little bit about, you know, a trend that I see coming around the corner that you should all be aware of. It's a goldmine that Mariette is already aware of. By 2020, there'll be over 60 million Americans who will be self-employed. The self-employed aren't even small businesses, they are the business. They sell their time, they're freelance writers, they're marketing consultants, they're dental hygienists, realtors, Uber and Lyft drivers. The face of employment is changing dramatically. We launched QuickBooks Self-Employed. You know, think of it as, you know, another product within the QuickBooks lineup. It's really tailor-made for the self-employed, and we're seeing this thing take off like wildfire. What's going to happen is you think about, you know, a couple of years ago when you started getting calls about people saying, hey, can you help me with QuickBooks Online? And you were like, maybe I know it, maybe I don't. This is the next thing that's going to happen. People are going to call you and say, can you tell me about QuickBooks Self-Employed? I want you to be aware of it. It enables the self-employed to basically very easily at the swipe categorize things between business and personal. And the kind of amazing little feature the team built into it is most self-employeds carry a mobile. And so the product understands when you're moving, as in driving from a place to a place. When you get to the end of your ride, it'll automatically pop up and tell you, hey, is this business or personal? And you'll be able to categorize that transaction. My ask of you is go to our booth, ask about the QuickBooks Self-Employed. You got to learn about it because this is a very fast-growing business that will impact your growth. So, ProAdvisor. I had to talk about the ProAdvisor program. It's very near and dear to my heart. Chris Hamilton, you'll hear from him tomorrow. He's got a ton of new news on the ProAdvisor program. But here's what I want you to take away. ProAdvisor program is always looking to improve, right? You know what's in it: training, certification, marketing, support, you know, best pricing possible. The team, as you know, has been building Find a ProAdvisor into QuickBooks Online, and now businesses can find you directly from QuickBooks Online. Well, you know, the team never rests on its laurels. We launched an experience. The team is now launching a much better experience, which looks like this. So, looks dramatically better. It's got all the best sort of web standards in the product. The really big piece of news is we flash up for you not only where you are and your online reputation, but the top industries you serve. It's important to specialize. Small businesses want to know what industries you're really good at. And so that's brand new functionality that is live now in the product, and Chris will tell you more about it tomorrow. So, which brings me to my second exciting announcement of the day, in service to helping you become an even more trusted advisor and helping you grow. We are teaming up with the Institute of Certified Bookkeepers USA. That's a clap for Jan Wago. You're going to have to drop by the booth and ask Jan a little bit more. But what this means is now certified QuickBooks Pro advisors will be able to join the ICB USA with two exclusive benefits. One, you'll receive credit for your QuickBooks certifications. And number two, you'll receive 50% off your ICB membership and exam fees up to the fellow level. Visit the ICB booth, say hi to Jan and her team, and it's a free benefit, part of the ProAdvisor program. You guys know we want you to keep growing. We want you to build your online credentials. we're very excited about where this can take us because frankly, this is a deal just in the USA, but we're looking to take it global next. So fresh off my second announcement, I'll roll right into a third announcement. You guys may have heard from me in the past about app developer partnerships. You may remember Receipt Bank. You may remember Bill.com, our first one. T-Sheets, of course. We did Fathom. And then let me announce the fifth partnership with the Pro Advisor program. We love HubDoc. Go HubDoc. I see my HubDoc team over there. They're having a blast. I love it. So what does this mean? That means you have a free VIP HubDoc account for your practice, dedicated phone support, 20% off for all your clients off of HubDoc, free unlimited training from HubDoc's customer success team, and I won't see anything more, but Chris Hamilton will tell you all the details tomorrow. We're very excited. As you guys know, HubDoc has really made a name for themselves very quickly in the accounting circles for the last few years, and we are so thrilled to be working more with them. So we now know you have a bunch of tools to move your firm to the future, but we're here to help. So one other thing I wanted to call out is across the booth, across the trade show floor, you're going to see some of these. Follow them. We have a room, Eros 1 and 2. Eros as in the Greek god of love, E-R-O-S. The room's Eros 1 and 2, where you'll be able to shine brighter through a professional photo we might be taking. If for some reason you don't like the photo you have on your, Find a Pro Advisor profile, go, we'll get you one. If you want to improve your Find a Pro Advisor profile, we've got some experts there. If you want to just become better about like social media marketing, we've got some social mavens from the Intuit team who will help you out, just give you, a checkup. We've got expert advice on HubDoc, some of our folks over there, and the Pro Advisor Care team will be there to answer any questions you might have, whether it's product, programs, or benefits. So, the time is now. Become a firm of the future. If you're not there, and many of you are, you need to go out online, be a trusted advisor, grow your practice through digital marketing because you're going to be able to connect with your peers, with your customers, and prospects. So while we may be in the Bahamas, I've got one more quick announcement. You guys know that Intuit has been growing globally. So we're excited, that this year we're going to be looking for firms of the future globally. So we're now going to open up the Firm of the Future contest to Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom. And so 20 firms are going to get the chance to get about $100,000 worth of prizes, and you'll get the chance to be in one of these really cool pictures this year, later at QuickBooks Connect. So my ask of you is go to firmofthefuture.com/contest because we're going to announce everything that happens and how you enter the global search coming up shortly. So go to firmofthefuture.com/contest. So I'm wrapping up here. Thank you so much for coming here. You may have a little badge in front of you. It's a little letter from me. Thank you for attending our session. The future is now. We're just so excited that we're all along for the ride. Start by getting connected. And so my ask of you is, get on Twitter. Go ahead and tweet hashtag QB Firm of the Future, or and include hashtag SNH16, and you may get a little prize from Intuit Accountants. I'm just saying. So with that, I thank you, and Joe, please join me on stage. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis. Got time for a couple questions?
Of course.
All right, fantastic. We're going to get some chairs out here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit.
Thank you.
So, your Firm of the Future is now going into its second year.
Thank you.
That's quite an accomplishment to sustain the energy of a campaign like that around something as innovative as Firm of the Future. Going into this second year, going into the future of this platform, what most excites you?
I think there are amazing firms all over the world. And last year we gave everybody here and around QuickBooks Connect and around the US a chance to kind of shine a light on them. I'm so excited about some of the firms we met in Australia. Australia is an incredibly forward-leaning market. And Yeah, there we go. I like it when we got Australians in the crowd. They're a rowdy bunch. I love it. You know, in the UK, I mean, there's just greatness all over the world. You guys will hear from Mark Wickersham. It's the beauty about going global. You know, we are inspired by more people around the world. And now, you know, it's only fair that we give them a chance to be firms of the future and be known globally.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the program is really expanding globally. All right, so a lot of people have written me saying, your pillars of an epic practice, Joe, and the firm of the future, there's some crossover there. I mean, you heard this morning.
I did.
All right, what crossover do you see?
You know, there's a ton of crossover. I think at the core, Joe, you know, we've been partners for a long time. We're just trying to help the profession evolve, right? And we're trying to enable you all to fuel small business success because that's what you do. We just want to give you all the tools so that you're not blindsided by anything. And so, you know, I loved your resilient stories. I love the fact that, you know, we're all trying to be enduring. You know, we as QuickBooks, as a brand and as a company, we're trying to be enduring. You gotta roll with the punches, you know, and you gotta realize that all these trends are coming our way, and more than anything, we need to be insightful and innovative. And you've called these out as all other key adjectives of an epic practice. I think, you know, there's a huge overlap, and I'm very excited because you've got great thinking. We've got some exciting thinking in front of the future, and hopefully it's all for the goodness of the profession.
Well, the direction is one. It's just how we kind of package it and dissect it and communicate it, right? So you've got this big contest, right? There's a lot of excitement now around the global firm of the future winner, and part of one of your pillars, if you will, is going to the cloud. Right? So in light of the globalization of Firm of the Future and a Global Firm of the Future award, what is Intuit doing to get people to QuickBooks Online?
You know, part of what we've done, and you guys have seen the transformation, QuickBooks Online Accountant is free. We've also made, you know, kind of the Pro Advisor program free. And so now anybody can enter and join and click into our training, be able to get certified. We are more and more building Find a Pro Advisor directories in every single country. And we're actually launching Firm of the Future websites across all of our key markets, so with country-specific guides.
Oh, nice.
So that, you know, think about it in Australia, in Canada, in the UK, accounts are going there and just getting the latest and, you know, and greatest from our experts here, but as well as some local experts. And so we believe this Firm of the Future idea has got lots of legs, and you know, that's the beauty of having a concept called Firm of the Future as opposed to Firm of 2017. You know, it keeps going because there's always greater thinking.
And Jim is fond of saying two things about Firm of the Future. One, that firm of one counts as a firm.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. And the other thing he says is the future is now. It's just not equally distributed. He likes to quote that. And I think that what you've just described is evidence of that. But there is still a future, right? There's still a 5 to 10 year horizon. Right? I know you guys have a lot of research. You're looking around corners as much as your research will permit you. What is Intuit's vision for the accounting profession in the next 5 to 10?
You know, it's we talked about seamless solutions. We keep just doubling down. I can't tell you how exciting it is to work in the accountant business today at Intuit, because more and more people realize you are the way to grow our business in the future. You are bringing along clients. They listen to you. And so what we're trying to do is build better solutions for you. So when you think about QuickBooks Online Accountant, this is the solution which we want you to use for your entire practice one day. And so here's the very short-term thing we're trying to do is, you know, we built, I don't know if any of you have used our trial balance feature. It basically hooks up, there we go, I like it. I like it when people have used it. It enables you to save hours worth of time. Think about the holy grail we've talked about for a while of books information, goes to the cloud, comes on the other side into Intuit Tax Online, and boom, all of a sudden you can do your tax returns in a matter of minutes. Sometimes, you know, a matter of, I wouldn't say seconds yet, but you know, we're getting there.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about books to tax, that whole vision, it's happening. We talked a little bit about how we want to create bundles so that you sign up a client and you say, well, this app is right for you and that app is right for you. Here you go. The whole thing is packaged all in one. So we are really looking to build better solutions that help you evolve your practice online, and we're just thrilled by all the opportunities.
And I would imagine your ecosystem's a big part of that too, because you know you have now books to analytics with Fathom, right? And then you've got third parties to books. So you start just connecting all the threads, and it really just ties everything from transaction all the way to tax, transaction all the way to analytics. It's a powerful vision for the future.
You're absolutely right, Joe.
Yeah.
And the more and more that happens, it's clear that you know, even with all that happening, a small business, they love running their business. They don't know accounting. They look at the numbers and they still don't put it all together, which makes for great need for you, where you can just look at things and say, well, you know, the implication of this is you can open another factory. You can afford to hire 3 more people. It's a matter of just giving you better tools so you can better do your job in less time. And if you value price, become even more profitable.
Well, that's exactly right. And the more value, then even the higher that value price, right?
Correct.
Okay, so before we wrap up here, I'm sure that a lot of folks here feel like they qualify for the firm of the future, and these are my attendees, so I'm going to say every one of them qualifies to be a firm of the future.
I love it.
I really do believe that. How do they apply?
Love it. So go to firmofthefuture.com/contest. Give us your email and a couple of other pieces of information. Eventually, what you have to do is answer a few questions around, you know, which of the pillars do you think you're a better fit for, and maybe give us an image that you think exemplifies the lifestyle of your firm. And that'll be about it. We're actually streamlining the process of what we learned last year. Is we made it a little too long, a little too tough. It'll be easier this year.
That's
and so absolutely, go to firmofthefuture.com/contest, and you'll hear more from us pretty soon.
That's fantastic. Well, Luis, it is always great
Thank you,
having
Joe.
you here.
Thank you for having me. I
Luis
appreciate it.
Sanchez. I'm going to bring up to the stage now one of the longest running partners of our show. I can say without a bit of exaggeration that Scaling New Heights would not exist without, and I do this every time I introduce him, it would not exist without the very early support, the very early faith that this company placed in us to partner with us very, very deeply in the early days to get our show off the ground. And their partnership has not stopped. They now continue to partner with our show as one of our largest and most supportive sponsors. They are friends of the accountant, having brought the 4.5 million desktop users into the cloud even before we had a word called cloud. Phil Romine is the partner and chief technology officer for Right Networks. Over 20 years of inventing cloud, internet, and distributed computing systems has led him to found Right Networks, with 10 years of designing computer and operating and network protocols and database systems. Not necessarily the sort of thing that you might think is the most exciting tea talk, but I will tell you, you're going to be excited when you see the fruition of it. Now, for me, that's exciting tea talk because I'm a geek. Any geeks here with me? Okay, thank you, appreciate it. His work has been used across the globe and beyond. For example, it was used to control aircraft, spacecraft, including the Apache helicopter, F-18, Cassini, Rosetta, and the Mars Global Surveyor. Welcome to the stage, Phil Romine.
All right, thanks everybody for taking time out of your afternoon instead of being on the beach to listen to me talk. I promise you I will not go into too many details about the way the Mars Global Surveyor works, just to try and keep it light. One of the other important details, you may have noticed on your room card for the hotel, it says Right Networks. That does not mean that we are paying for your room. That would be the Oprah conference, so you'll want to sign up for that. I'm going to talk about transforming your practice in the cloud. This is going to be a topic that you've heard some about already. We're going to talk about some more. And the angle that Right Networks brings to it is we enable a lot of the things that Luis talked about in the previous presentation to be able to be used with QuickBooks Desktop. Now, one of the things that I think is an important thing to consider, be mindful of as you build your practice, is you want to be a practice that can adapt to changes. And one of the things that Right Networks has tried to do over the years is adapt to the way that the landscape has changed. Over the years, we've been with Scaling New Heights since the very first one. In fact, I think at the first show, one of the things I specifically remember, it's a much shorter distance to run up to the stage than it was at this one. As Joe mentioned, one of our objectives when we started Write Networks is we wanted to make it so that the 4.5 million QuickBooks desktop users would be able to leverage the cloud. And the way that we addressed that need, starting back in 2003, was we developed some technology that worked very well with some Microsoft platform technology and also worked well with QuickBooks to be able to make it so that your QuickBooks desktop software would run in the cloud exactly the same way that you're used to. One of the things that's really nice about that is that you can carry all the processes that you've built up over the years or that you've learned from someone experienced and skilled in the art on how they can make their practice work well. So you can take all of those practices, processes, and bring them into the cloud, running your QuickBooks desktop in the cloud. We've developed a very strong relationship with Intuit over the years. In the early years, it was one of these things where we were getting to know each other. They weren't quite sure how they felt about what we did, putting QuickBooks Desktop in the cloud. And what we found is that it actually worked out to be a very nice relationship because they want to empower businesses to be able to get their work done and do well. So we've had this great transformation of our own company over the years. In particular, recently, now I'm going to get a little geeky, we've updated our data centers. We've added a new data center. We've advanced the storage technology that we use, the blade technology that we use. We've got a new version of our proprietary virtualization software called HyperWrite that we just announced. It improves the scalability of our systems, improves the stability of our systems. It's been an amazing experience. We also, I believe when we first attended Scaling New Heights, we were in an office space that was probably, I don't know, about, I've walked across a farther distance than our office space, so it was back in 2009. Now we've got a 23,000 square foot office space that we're pretty much fully built out. We've gone from, in 2002, we had 3 employees to over 100. And I'm looking forward to the growth of getting another 30 times growth over the same amount of time. We have great technology to be able to support people, have them be able to work with us, and be able to get their job done. But in addition to adapting, that's a very important thing for a successful Epic practice. It's important to stay the course and stick to your core values. And one of the things that we've done is committed ourselves and continued our commitment to enabling people to get the kind of work done that they need to get done, to be able to run the applications that they're used to be able to leverage the cloud, this wonderful internet that allows everybody to get to everything from anywhere, but to be able to apply that and combine that with the workflows and the processes that you're using. So with Write Networks, you're able to run your desktop QuickBooks anywhere, anytime, any device, iPad, Mac, Windows, whatever. You got internet connectivity. You can take the processes and approach that you've used to build a successful practice and take those to the cloud today. There's always a balance between adapting toward the future and staying the course, and that's growth. What you need to make sure that you can do is you can continue to grow your business by doing new things and better things. What we've done along those lines is we've made it so that you can, in addition to running QuickBooks in the cloud, you can take the rest of your desktop applications to the cloud as well. One of the things we're very happy to announce, consistent with the growth of our relationship with Intuit, is we've had a growing relationship with Microsoft as well. From the beginning, we've been hosting the Windows software so that you have this familiar look and feel when you run your QuickBooks desktop application. But most recently, we've enhanced that relationship by adding Office 365 to the list. This really is an amazing accomplishment to be able to combine that with a desktop QuickBooks, to be able to combine it with all of these other great applications like Tally, T-Sheets, Avalara, Webgility, Bill.com, all the ones that you've really learned to leverage to make your business a more effective efficient operation by leveraging the cloud and these great applications. So without belaboring the conversation too much more, I encourage you to make the most of the show. It's been an amazing experience to be working with Joe over the years, an amazing experience to be able to build great relationships with the vendors and many of the people who've been here. Just as Joe is thanking me for being a part of the growth of Scaling New Heights over the last many years, I'd like to thank the folks who've stuck with Right Networks. We have some folks in the room who've been with us not only from the Scaling New Heights original days, but there are some folks around that have been here much longer than that, back into the 2005 era. So anyway, thank you all very much for your time. Thank you for coming to the show. Please make sure to visit the vendors, and again, check out the Right Networks booth. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you. Phil, thank you very much. Can I have that? All right, thank you. All right, at the very first Scaling New Heights in 2009, we had 260 attendees. You all came for one reason. Intuit launched the first ever QuickBooks Desktop Advanced Pro Advisor exam, and nobody could really pass that crazy thing. It was hard. It was really, really hard. And so much of the training there was focused on that, and there were other tracks, but the track on QuickBooks Desktop Advanced Certification Exam Prep, out of the 260 people, had 200 people in it. So thank you, Intuit, for writing that test. It helped me launch a conference. I appreciate that very much. And I think a lot of you did go off and pass it. That was fantastic. In year two, you were already advanced desktop certified. I'll tell you why you came back in year two. We had 450 that year, but over 200 of you were in the method class. You remember that thing? I taught it myself. I taught it for like a day and a half, and boy, did I plow deep, right? And then after we did that, and your brains turned to mush, we decided we'd do boot camps and we'd spread it out over 4 days because it's really a powerful, powerful product. But Method, like Right Networks, is one of the very, very early supporters of our show. And Method was the only software developer to take our main stage in Scaling New Heights 2009. Now, I have the CEO and founder of Method with us here today. He believes that building one size fits all for any kind of solution is lazy and outdated. And Paul Intuit would agree with you, they're taking an ecosystem approach, right? He sold his first tech company, QExpress, a field service scheduling app for QuickBooks. He then started Method, completely customizable and simplifies the way to get work done. He's best known for the flagship product, Method CRM, which is the #1 CRM for QuickBooks. And what he's going to talk about here is mostly his vision for you as accountants and what you need to be doing around the kinds of technologies he develops. Welcome to the stage, Paul Jackson. That's a long run, isn't
Cypress
it?
Hill.
That's a very long run. Then you get up here and you still have a long walk.
Yeah,
So, you
yeah.
know,
Phil's right.
exactly. So this room doesn't look this big, does it? But it is the biggest general session room we've ever had in Scaling New Heights, that's for sure. All right, absolutely. Okay, so at Woodard, we know Method very well. And how many of you were with us in Scaling New Heights 2010 with that marathon Method class? Okay, the folks that just raised their hand know Method really well, right? But not everybody understands what you do. They might think they're just a way to track sales and leads, right? And you're so much more than that. So tell us a little bit about Method. Why did you create it? And what was the vision behind it?
Cool. So, yeah, let me start off. I've worn many hats in my career, and I've done a lot of kind of geeked it out in code from time to time. But I think anyone that starts companies does that. They kind of geek it out and they do different things to get their businesses going. And this is my second business. So the first company I created was a software company, similar, like you said, QExpress. But it was a traditional business model. It was like the one-size-fits-all model that was it's still actually the way we sell software today. And with one-size-fits-all, what you're doing is you're mass-producing software. And what you're hoping for is you're carving a target market of companies, and you're trying to get as many companies as possible to hopefully pick you, right?
Within the category, right?
Within the category.
Exactly.
They're hopefully going to pick you, and when they're picking you, it's mass-produced. So what they're really saying is, you're the closest match. Like, you're not perfect. You're the closest match. And so by 2010, it became absolutely obvious to me that the one-size-fits-all model was destined to go extinct. And so when I was offered to be acquired by a company, I took it, and I started a method. And I had a fundamental belief, like one truth, and that was a small business running on running a software program designed specifically just for them would always be better off than a software program designed for the masses, designed for everybody else. And if someone could create that, right, if someone could create that, well, we could all finally move off the one-size software model and onto something that was better. And so that's why I created Method. And in terms of your question of what is Method, well, it's customer management software that allows small businesses to have a personalized solution for their businesses.
Okay, but all right. So, and that was really thick stuff, and I understand exactly where he's coming from because we've adopted that and we've leveraged that platform to build these custom solutions for many clients at Woodard. But some people look at my clients, Paul, and they think, okay, well, Joe, you've got a $30 million construction company. You're doing a 2 to 3 year project in the 6 figures. Does it take a firm like Woodard's in order to support Method, or are there opportunities in the crowd, no matter who's here?
So I've heard you use a term before, Joe, process consulting.
Yes.
I think that's bang on. And so I think that pro advisors have a unique opportunity to provide advice and insights and really help their clients streamline their operations.
Okay, so you're saying that they can go in first and lead as process consultants, and then they can deploy your technology against any, gaps in the process or fillers in the process, or just the whole of the process, right? But if it's a mom and pop, it's not necessarily going to be a 3-year project with hundreds of thousands of billings, right? So maybe it's a fit for everybody?
Yeah, I think when you look at it, like anyone who's been behind the walls of a small business, they know there's lots of chaos there.
Right.
Like we all know there's lots of chaos. When I do a tour of a customer site, I always get, hey, Paul, we're not the typical company. Like, this is like, this is how we do things, and really
Nobody here's heard that, not a soul.
Well, but, everyone's seen before, like how we do things is not a line from A to B.
Right.
It's like this.
It is.
And I think that process consulting is an opportunity to kind of straighten this out.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you would say, because you're talking about a you're saying it's still not one size fits all, because you're not saying force your square peg into the round hole of a particular software solution. You're saying just streamline out the processes and then they can adapt yours to the stream. I mean, is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so how do you suggest then that pro advisors get, if you're going to jump into the middle of that chaos, you better be prepared, right? So how do they detect the symptoms? How can they insert themselves for their clients?
Right. I think the biggest symptom to detect is poor customer service. So look for opportunities of poor customer service. Ask questions. Ask questions from the customer's perspective. I've got an example. So Victoria Cameron, are you in here somewhere? There you are. Hi, Victoria. So I was talking to Victoria Cameron last night. She's from Cloud Consultancy, and she's helping a client right now, a manufacturing client, and she's helping them streamline their operation. They sell skincare products, and their order tracking process needs work. And so for Victoria, how she spotted the chaos was she asked a simple question, and that was, what are your clients experiencing today that needs to be solved? And the answer was, well, our clients call in, they talk to our sales reps, and they're really frustrated because they're actually getting yesterday's order status updates, and they want today's. So the follow-up question Victoria asked was, okay, well, how are they even getting yesterday's order status updates? And so get this. So I mean, you've all heard this before, something like this before. We have Tammy spend the last 3 hours of her day, every single day, manually taking the orders that are in QuickBooks and retyping them into the CRM.
yeah.
And the customers
I wish
aren't happy
that,
because
I wish that was rare.
like that's the reality. And so I think that's the opportunity that we all want to solve.
Yeah. All right, so you're saying that if I'll just ask the right questions, and I mean, and the right questions are not rocket science, right? It's just, you know, identify their pain. We talked about that a little bit this morning in an interview. If we'll just hone in on their pain and identify that, the pain always has a headwater somewhere. And has it been your experience, like with Victoria and with Paul, has it been your experience that pain is usually an imperfection in process, a redundancy of effort? I mean, it's often the case. So that's a great way to spot that. Okay, so when you know, I just want to kind of drill down on chaos just a little bit more. We just identified, you know, like this whole Tammy kind of double entry can create chaos. Do you see any other indicators of chaos or any other creators of chaos that maybe you have some examples of some of the method implementations you or your partners have done that have solved?
Well, I mean, so there's lots of examples out there. I think that the heart of the chaos, though, is really that information is in silos.
Oh.
And if you look at Victoria Cameron's example, they had critical information in 2 different places, and they created workarounds to get there. And workarounds are horribly inefficient. They create errors. And I think in Tammy's case, she made errors, and sometimes the order statuses were wrong. So I think that's the heart of the chaos.
So get the data out of the silos. You know, Brad Smith has a saying about, he uses it about C drives, and he says C drives are prisons for data. And you know, that's actually very thought-provoking, but there are other prisons, is what I'm hearing you say. I mean, even if you're in the cloud, you can have data silos, right?
Sure.
Because your systems aren't properly integrated, or you're trying to use too many disparate systems. And so you're saying the more data can be contained in a single silo, the less of that double entry you're going to incur.
You need to get, those who need access to that data need to get access to it.
Yep.
It can't be different places.
All right, so while we're talking about different places and we're talking about a lot of silos, I see a lot of our clients, and I see a lot of your clients, using a tremendous number of solutions, right? I mean, we're not talking about 1 or 2, we're talking about 5, 10, 15, right? And they're using a lot of workarounds to move the data around. Sounds like their customers and their employees are suffering from it. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, I think that every business I've ever talked to, I'm sure you as well, is unique in some way, and they want to get their work done in some special way. But we're still in the one-size-fits-all software model. Like we're still selling
even if it's a
inflexible
bunch of
solutions.
one-size-fits-all,
And so
right? Yeah, exactly.
they're buying these disparate systems to solve individual problems, and then they're doing manual workarounds to get around it. And that's where the cause of the chaos.
Yes. And you're not, as a matter of fact, the original website for your product was method integration. I mean, you're not anti-integration, right? You're just saying, you know, if you piece too many things together, then it becomes difficult to manage.
Sure.
Right, absolutely. Well, so Paul Jackson has built a phenomenal product. We all encourage you to check it out at his booth. If you don't like the letter CRM, or if you don't know what they stand for, or have long since thought it doesn't apply to you because maybe you're a sole practitioner, remember, the vision is bigger than the one key application that he wrote on the platform. Go look at this phenomenal platform. It has been the foundation of all of Woodard's consulting services to the small and medium-sized business market for the last 5 years. The opportunity around this product is tremendous. Paul, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Okay, it's been a long time in here, and I don't want you to be anything less than energized for the guy we flew all the way in from England. I mean, if we're going to bring a Brit, you better bring the attention, right? Because those Brits are pretty sharp. They're going to pick up on it really fast. So what I need, and I know that I thought about this last minute and everything, but I'm sure there's somebody in the audience here. I need somebody who has some experience in aerobics and leading aerobics training to kind of get us up and on our feet.
Oh, I do, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
you know-
Addie, I guess so. I didn't have you in mind for some reason, but come on.
Yeah, because in Oklahoma they call me the Zumba Queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I
okay.
know how to move it and shake it.
All right. Well, as Addie comes up to the stage, and PSAV folks, Addie's going to call you for a song here in just a second, so she might just have a song in mind. Everybody stand up. We're going to do a little bit of light aerobics. Now, nobody gets to not participate. All right, I'm watching you. Stand up. We're all accountants, and nobody is watching except 2,000 people at home, okay?
Right.
But they're all
Yeah.
accountants too. All right, Addie, take it away. Lead us.
This is like our 7th inning stretch, people. We got more game. All right. Okay, we are looking good. We are looking good. How about
That's
that?
not over. Don't sit down. Nope.
Don't sit down. Don't sit down. Okay, a song. Oh, okay. Something that's gonna get everybody going. E-Rock, you got something good here for my peeps?
Thank you, Addie.
Mwah!
Appreciate it.
I love you, Joe. You can.
I was just going to have you stretch your legs. All right. Our next speaker is an accountant, a best-selling author, and a public speaker. Obviously, he's a public speaker. I think we could have left that one out. He's famous for helping accounting firms double their profits in less than 18 months without having to work harder or do uncomfortable marketing. His book, Effective Pricing for Accountants, was a #1 Amazon bestseller, and he co-authored Your Blueprint for a Better Tax Practice and Your Blueprint for a Better Accountancy Practice, and that's what they call us, by the way, over there across the pond. Welcome to the stage, Mark Wickersham.
Awesome. Thank
Welcome,
you, Joe.
sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Back on the 18th of August, 1994, a jury... It's that shark. I'm trying to get in. A jury in Mexico delivered a verdict. Is that good? Yeah, awesome. A jury in New Mexico delivered the most astounding verdict. A verdict that completely shocked the world. It was a verdict that has been studied by price psychologists and studied by behavioral economists for the last 22 years. The story starts back on the 27th of February, 1992. And on that day, a 79-year-old lady called Stella Liebeck was sat in the passenger seat of her grandson's 1989 Ford Probe. For anybody that's as old as me, you may remember the Ford Probe. It was a particularly flashy car when it came out. It did have one problem, as you'll shortly find out. So her grandson and her turned up at the local drive-through of McDonald's in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where Stella ordered a 49-cent cup of coffee. I can see a few confused faces on the front row here. Back in the UK where I come from, I don't know if you know, but we drive on the wrong side of the road. So when we pull up at the drive-through, we take our coffee from this side. So Stella bought this 49-cent cup of coffee. The problem with the Ford Probe is it had no cup holders. So her grandson drove into the parking lot so she could put the milk and the sugar into the coffee. And she carefully placed this cup of coffee between her legs. That's when disaster struck. As she lifted the lid of the coffee, she spilt the entire contents all down her lap. She was in absolute agony. She was rushed to hospital. She spent 3 weeks in and out of hospital. She suffered third-degree burns on 6% of her skin. She was in and out of hospital for the next 9 months, undergoing various skin grafts. She was left permanently disfigured, and she'd been left partially disabled. She wasn't happy. She decided that she would ask McDonald's for compensation. And 9 months after that event, she'd incurred medical bills, loss of earnings, and other costs of close on $20,000. So she asked McDonald's, quite reasonably, for $20,000 in compensation, which interestingly wasn't that different from an earlier similar case. Now, McDonald's weren't having this, and so they came back to her with a different offer. They offered Stella a measly, tiny $800. She wasn't happy. So she hired the Texas attorney, S. Reed Morgan, and the case went to trial on the 17th of August, 1994. And on the 18th of August, the jury delivered this just astounding, incredible verdict. A verdict which, as I said, shocked the world and has been studied for years since. It's a verdict that will have profound implications on the way that you price your accounting, bookkeeping, and tax services. Who would like to know what that verdict was? Some of you, awesome. My name's Mark Wickersham, and I'm a chartered accountant. I've been in this profession since way back in 1988, so a long time. And I started my own accounting firm back on the 31st of May, 1996. That was a day of excitement, that was. That was starting my own business. I started from scratch and with no clients, working from a room in my bedroom. And those were incredibly exciting times. It was a day of thinking about the future. I was going to build a huge accounting firm. I was going to make a lot of money. And most important of all, the reason I started my accounting firm on the 31st of May 96 was because I decided that I wanted to choose the hours that I worked. Is that one on? No? Yes? Awesome, thanks guys. I wanted to choose the hours that I worked. I wanted to choose when I got to go on holidays. I wanted to choose to go to the Bahamas whenever I wanted. Little did I know, back on the 31st of May 1996, how hard and tough the next 2.5 years would be. Nothing like what I imagined. When I got to the middle of 1999, looking back on those first 2.5 years, I'd made no money whatsoever, not a penny. I was constantly going to the bank with the begging bowl saying, "Please, sir, can I have a little bit more overdraft? Can I have another loan?" Yes, I was growing a big practice, and from the outside looking in, it looked successful. I went from a startup in 1996 to 200 clients inside 2 years. It looked impressive, but on the inside, it was a mess. And I realized looking back that I just made so many crazy mistakes in those first 2 years. Ridiculous mistakes. And the number one mistake I made that cost me hundreds of thousands was I had no idea whatsoever how to price. I was brought up in the profession back in 1988 believing that as professionals we had to keep timesheets. I believe we had to log every hour. I believe we had to bill our clients based on how many hours it took. And I couldn't understand why in those first 2.5 years, when I presented these bills to the clients, nicely itemized, they'd say, "That's a bit expensive, isn't it?" Has anyone had fee disputes and clients saying that's expensive? Have we had that? And I couldn't work out why, because I wasn't making any money. And then fortunately in 1999, I was very lucky to come across Ron Baker. Hopefully you've heard of him. He's one of my heroes. And I read Ron's book, Value Pricing for Professionals, and for me, a light bulb went off. And suddenly I could see a completely different way of pricing. I spent the rest of 1999 putting in place systems and processes to implement value pricing. And what I found is that my results changed significantly within a matter of months. So much so that I was able to then sell my accounting firm in a management buyout. The managers bought it a few years later. I couldn't have done that in 1999 because, to be honest, it was a mess. And then I was fortunate in the year 2000 to start teaching other accounting firms the systems that I'd created. And I've been working with accountants and bookkeepers now since the year 2000 for the last 16 years and helping accountants and bookkeepers get incredible results. For example, there's a bookkeeper called Jane Aylwin that is the most extraordinary bookkeeper. She's also an ICB member. And I first met Jane in March of last year. She joined my mentoring program. So I've been working with Jane for 14 months now. And we recently, a few weeks ago, did an interview because she's got the most amazing story. She said to me that the reason she joined my mentoring program was because a year ago life was tough. She started her her bookkeeping firm back in the year 2008. And a bit like me, she started on a kitchen table, just her. And to her surprise, her little bookkeeping business grew. It grew. It grew. And she got to the stage where she started employing people. She needed office premises. And at the time I met her, she had a team of 5 people. A very well-established bookkeeping firm in the UK. But she said to me, when she started back in 2008, and she was billing clients based on an hourly rate, she said in the early days that was working okay, it covered her time. But as her bookkeeping business grew, and as her cost base changed, as she started employing people, she found her hourly rates weren't giving her the results she wanted. Her profits were going down. She was struggling. So I taught her a different way. I explained why she has to move away from hourly rates and start to embrace value pricing. And she said the other day that it took her a while to start to get the results because she kept listening to me in all my sessions and, by her own admission, didn't take action for a while. But then in November, she had what she describes as her week of wow. She was driving along to a client for a meeting at 5 o'clock in the evening. And as she was traveling, she thought to herself, I'm just fed up. I'm fed up with working ridiculous hours. I'm fed up with driving large distances to see clients. I'm fed up with clients not appreciating me. Can anyone relate to that? Yeah. And she decided, she had this epiphany moment as she was driving to this client and decided something has got to change. And it wasn't the car. She was happy with the car. It wasn't even the client. She quite liked the client. She decided what had to change was the way she priced. So she went to that meeting at 5 o'clock and decided that she would follow the process I taught her. An hour and a half later, 6:30, as she was setting off home, the client had agreed a brand new engagement for essentially the same work she'd done in the past, but for double the price. And she came away thinking, wow, that was quite easy. And she said to me that she had 3 other client meetings that week. So it gave her a renewed confidence, and she went to the next client, followed the same process, agreed a new engagement for essentially the same work, double the price. In fact, across all 4 meetings, the same outcome. She'd in all cases doubled the price or more for essentially the same things. She said to me, as a result of that, in that 1 week in November, she'd increased effectively the fees for her entire bookkeeping firm by 12%. Now, I've been working with accountants and bookkeepers for years and benchmarking, and it's not often I come across an accounting firm or a bookkeeping firm that consistently grows at 12% year after year. That's rare. She did it in 1 week. At the end of the interview, I said to her, so what's happened since, Jane? And she said, well, in the last 5 months, I've followed the process, won some new clients, changed the fees for my existing business, and I've added on to my total fees £53,000, which in dollars is close on $80,000. And she said, because I've not changed what I do, because that's price increases, that $80,000 has all fallen to the bottom line profit. So my question for you is, what difference would that make to your life if over the next 3 or 4 years you could add $80,000 without having to win new clients, do any uncomfortable marketing, just by changing your pricing systems? Last year, I was asked to speak at some roadshow events for Intuit in the UK. And the first of those was in a small little town called Exeter. And just before the conference started at 9 o'clock, I decided to go and clear my head and went for a walk around Exeter to just clear my thoughts. And as I was walking around Exeter, thinking through my presentation, I spied an oasis. I spied my favorite coffee shop, Starbucks. I'm a big Starbucks fan. And as I walked into Starbucks and was waiting to be served, I looked at the big menu of prices behind, and I thought, that's fascinating. It's clever what they're doing. So as I was about to be served, the lady said to me, hello, how can I help you? And I said, can I ask you a really strange question? I said, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you out or anything freaky. I said, would you mind if I had some of your Starbucks cups? She looked a bit puzzled. And I said, I'm doing a keynote in a few minutes for a room full of accountants and bookkeepers, and I'm just fascinated by what's on your menu behind you, about what you're doing, about the way you price. And I'd like to use the cups to illustrate a point. These cups are actually now famous. They're probably the cups that have traveled the furthest around the world. I know Diane Lucas is here from Australia. These have been to Melbourne last year. They're from the UK. They were in QB Connect last November, and they're now here in the Bahamas. So these are well-traveled Starbucks cups. But here's what's interesting, and Lewis implied it earlier on, is what's really interesting is that when you go into Starbucks to buy a latte, for example, they offer you 3 sizes. This is what I call the magic of 3. Because what Starbucks understand, and what we learn from behavioral economics, is that when we, as human beings, we are faced with choices, there is something interesting takes place when we're given 3 choices, 3 options. And what happens is, for most people, when we buy and we're faced with 3 options, for most of us, we gravitate towards the middle option. Not everybody, but most people buy the middle option, the middle choice. And the reason for that is because for most of us it feels the safest choice to go for the middle. What it means for Starbucks, though, is if they only sold this, which, by the way, this is what they call the tall, which I've never understood because this is, to me, it's a bit stumpy, but this is the tall, okay? If this is all they sold, if this is all they offered, that's all you'd buy. And if every customer just bought the tall latte, they would be throwing away millions and millions of dollars. But what they understand and the way that they choose their price points is they know that most people choose this one and a significant number choose this one. In other words, people choose to take more money out of their pocket and give it across the counter to Starbucks. People choose to pay them more money. So the learning for us from that is if it's good enough for Starbucks, the magic of 3, shouldn't we use it? Well, my advice to you is that if you don't, you're crazy. You need to make sure that for everything you do, whether it's your payroll, whether it's your bookkeeping, whether it's your accountancy, your tax services, you should always give the client 3 choices. Because you'll make more money. Let me tell you a story of a lady that I was speaking to on my mentoring sessions just a few weeks ago. Her name's Jennifer Denning. She's a sole practitioner, a little accounting firm in the UK. And she said to me the other day she decided that she wanted to start this year by repricing her payroll solution. She has a payroll department. And up until January of this year, she priced her payroll at £3, which is about $4.50, per payslip, per period. It's the way she'd always done it in the past. She decided that she'd follow the system that I taught her for pricing payroll. One of the things was to give people 3 choices. And what she did is she got a member of her team to pick up the phone to every single payroll client and explain the 3 different options and the way they were going to start pricing. She said to me, not a single client objected. They all signed up to the new packages. But what Jennifer said to me, she said, Mark, I'm absolutely staggered. I have no idea that so many clients of mine would choose to buy the most expensive version of my payroll. I said to her, it's no surprise at all. It's about how behavioral economics works. Some people will choose to buy more stuff. If you don't offer them more stuff, they can only buy the cheapest. So I said to Jennifer, I said, what was the end result of that? She said, well, I did the maths, and we've effectively, for our payroll department, doubled the fees this year. We've doubled the turnover just by offering people 3 options. In a few minutes, I'm going to be running a workshop, 4:20. And what I'm going to be doing in that workshop with you is I'm going to tell you about some of the big myths in the profession about the way that we price. I'm going to also share with you a formula that I've been teaching for many years. It's a 7-step formula. The first of the steps is I'll teach you more about the magic of 3 and how to create different options. But I'll take you through the other 6 steps that when you apply those steps in sequence, you will get significantly better results. Just like Jennifer Denning, just like our bookkeeper, Jane Aylwin, who's added almost $80,000 in the last few months just through pricing differently. I'll take you through that process, that system. I'll also make it really practical. I'll show you the exact systems, the words to use to build the value of what you do. And I'll show you some software, the software that Jennifer uses, that Jane uses, that will allow you to calculate a value-based price. Nothing to do with time, based on the value to the customer. And when you come to that workshop, I've got 3 gifts for you. I couldn't come all the way from the UK without giving you something. So I've got 3 things. And you might notice on your tables in front of you is a piece of paper with my face on it. Sorry about that. So if you open that up, you'll see there's 3 tick boxes. What I've got for you is when you come to my workshop, I will give you a copy of my ebook, How to Price Accounting Services for Maximum Profit. I'll also give you, as a second gift, I will give you a free copy of the software that people like Jane and Jennifer are using to get significantly better prices, and a video-based training program to go with that, where I'll teach you some of the foundations of moving to value pricing. And the third gift I've got for you is I'm going to be running a free online session for you in the next few weeks where I'll teach you how some firms are getting incredibly high profits now and high fees from moving clients from old-fashioned desktop systems onto QBO. I'll show you how to package that as a solution. I'll show you how to price that and how firms are getting over $1,500 every single time when they used to do it for free. So I'll give you all those as a gift from me. All you need to do is fill that piece of paper in that's on your tables and bring it to the workshop, hand it in there, and I'll make sure that you get those 3 gifts. For the people live streaming, somewhere on the page is a click-through link where you can tick the 3 boxes and claim the gifts. Let's go back to Stella Liebeck. So if you remember, she'd suffered intense pains, 3rd-degree burns on 6% of her skin. She was originally seeking $20,000. And on the 18th of August, 1994, as a result of things that S. Reed Morgan had done during the course of that trial, the jury delivered the most just astonishing verdict. They awarded Stella damages of not $20,000, not $50,000, but $200,000. Wow. But that wasn't the end of the story, because the jury also awarded Stella with punitive damages, and they totaled $2.7 million. The grand total was $2.9 million. Staggering. The question is, what is it that S. Reed Morgan, the Texas attorney, did in that trial to get the jury to award such a staggering level of damages? $2.9 million. But actually, even more important for us, how can we take what S. Reed Morgan did, and how can we use those exact same techniques to get our clients to voluntarily pay us double or more than what they've been paying before? I'll tell you the answers to those questions in the workshop this afternoon. You've been an awesome audience. Thank you so much. I'll see you all very soon. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mark. Fantastic as
Thank you.
always. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And I want to state something. You can enter his contest. I know some of you have track commitments that do not permit you to go to his breakout. Do not fear. You can still turn in your forms and you can hand them to Mark and then go on to where your track commitment carries you. Also, remember that anybody who didn't sign up for Mark's session inside the attendee portal, you just hang back and make sure there's a seat before you go in, because those that did were the ones that were guaranteed a seat. I do hope that everybody who wants to be able to go into that can do so. All right, so if Poseidon will raise the room for us. And can somebody tell me, are we filming Mark Wickersham's breakout session? See, so there you go too. So if you want to see him live, he is very engaging. I do encourage you to do that, but don't despair. You can enter the contest and you can enjoy the breakout. We're on the surface, folks. Have a fantastic evening. We'll see you in the morning. Damon John, 8 o'clock a.m. For those of you who joined us from the live stream, we appreciate you spending another couple of hours with us here at Scaling New Heights. We know that your day is busy. We appreciate the investment that you've made. Tomorrow we're going to launch out at 8 o'clock with the general session that has Damon John speaking. Tune in tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock a.m. and tune in throughout the year at woodard.com/media.